right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight, we're going to be drinking a product from what has got to be the best distillery located in an old Legion Hall. I think that goes without saying, that if you look at all of the distilleries that are currently operating out of a former Legion Hall, this has got to be the best.
It's up
And
there.
I can't think of a single one that could beat it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's up there for
Okay.
my ignorance.
All right, fair enough. But we're going to be drinking one that Steven provided. So he's showing off the bottle, and tell us about it. Tell us the proof. Tell us everything you know about it.
Yeah, so we previously had back on episode 104, I just looked it up. We did Switchgrass Spirits Straight Rye. So not that long ago we did the Straight Rye. And then tonight we're going to be having the straight bourbon whiskey finished in a stout barrel, a beer barrel. So if you like stout beer, they took a barrel from that. They finished their straight bourbon whiskey in it, which they have like a bourbon and then a straight bourbon. So this is a straight bourbon in the stout barrel. I don't know how long it was. It was aged. I'll see if I can see that in the back in just a moment. But it's 119 proof.
I think it's 2 years, Steven.
I think it's 2 years.
That's what I saw online.
Yep, aged 2 years in cask. And this is, hold on, let me get this number for you. It's small. I'm getting older. It's 035025. And then it was aged 2 years in a cask. Then it was finished for 4 months in a well-spent stout cask, they say.
See, that makes sense. When you said, like, whenever you were initially saying like 2 years, I was like, you can't finish something for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that would be way too long in a finishing barrel. So
I meant
that
aged
makes sense.
at first. Yeah, I meant the age statement. And
if it's straight, then you should already know it's 2 years. So just saying.
And Well Spent is a brewery in
you know
St.
what?
Louis.
I'll go ahead and say it. This is
Correct.
the time to get a little cocky. It is the best in a Legion Hall.
There we go.
I'll just say it.
That wasn't so hard, Stephen.
No, it felt good. It feels good to just talk out of your ass. I should do it more often. Last time, they all know right now that I gave the Switchgrass Spirits Rye a 6. Okay? And I'm giving this guy a 5. Because
you don't like it as much.
Can you move it up a little closer too? I can't see it too well.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because I liked the colors on the rye a little bit better, and I liked the font quite a bit of the rye whiskey and the hills on it, if you go back and look at that bottle. But on this one, it's just kind of a sunrise, which I don't mind. It's just the fact that it has, on its own, doesn't really have anything to do with stout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think that this label added as much to it as the rye did. And in both cases, I think there's just a lot going on with the label. So I think that takes away from it a little bit. It's still nice. Like, it's still middle of the road to me at worst. It's not a bad label, but there's just not as much special about it to me as the Straight Rye. But it does still, I think, look nice overall, and it definitely tells you what it is right there on the bottle. So respect for that.
So there's one thing that I really like about the Switchgrass labels. Two things, actually. Number one is I do like the bottle shape. And I know that you don't rate the bottle shape, but I do like the bottle shape. Yeah. And the bottle shape slightly, there's two things that Switchgrass pulls from, I think, Weller, that I really like. And that's, number one, the bottle shape is somewhat similar. Number two, the colors. Like, it's always the same bottle, but the color changes based on the label.
Yeah.
Most other aspects of the label are similar, but like, if you like Switchgrass, you could be on the other side of the liquor store and see them sitting there and know exactly which ones they have and don't have just based on the colors. And with it being the entire label that's that color, it just really stands out. Now, I'm not saying that it's a 7 or a 5 or an 8. I don't give a shit because I don't rate labels. But that's something that I do appreciate, being able to see from a distance what they do and don't have. So
Yep. No, I completely agree. That is a good touch with it. So you'll know if they have this stout wherever you are, the stout finish, because it's always going to be this color, this kind of like beige color. Now I have kind of a warm tint to my lights in here, but yeah, it's this beige color. It's not too bad on the color reproduction there.
Yeah.
And we should also mention, I guess, because we talked about it last time, it's a worker-owned company, which they proudly say on the front, and they also use a sweet mash, which is listed at the bottom. So those are two kind of unique things about their company that they make sure to include on the labels as well.
hey, what's the proof?
This one is 119.32.
So it's cask strength.
Yeah. No
I don't
water
think I knew
added
that.
is right on there next to the sweet mash.
Okay, so I didn't realize. I don't think I realized that earlier. Okay.
The whiskey's got a really nice color, and I think with that beige logo, it looks really nice.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right now, it's not really doing it justice, but if it was in a room like during the day, lighted well, it looks really nice.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we get into it?
Let's dive in. Yeah.
I can tell you, I've never had it before, but the nose I mentioned, like for the listeners, that's what got us to stop BSing and start recording, and BSing while we record, was me saying, "Holy shit, this has got a fantastic nose."
What do you pick up on it?
The stout, very strongly, the stout, mixed with like a nice caramel sweetness, but again, all wrapped around that stout beer flavor. And I'm not a huge stout lover, but the nose, the combination together smells amazing.
Have you guys had beer from this place or no?
From Well Spent, I have not.
Yeah, no.
But that nose is just fantastic. It's got it's got a decadent nose, a decadent like chocolate cake nose to it almost.
It smells like a Portillo's chocolate cake.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I gotta
right.
have this fucking chocolate cake, man.
Oh, that chocolate, Portillo's chocolate
We
shake.
brought this up
Like,
multiple times.
Steven, this weekend, or not necessarily this weekend, but sometime in the next couple weekends, just drive to Springfield to go to Portillo's, just have the cheese, the cake, the chocolate cake, and drive back home.
But
It's
buy a whole cake
that-
though and bring it home.
No, just have a piece there. And when you want another piece, go back.
Yeah, just drive back. How far is Springfield from there? 2 hours? Wait, Springfield, Illinois?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was one there. I thought you were talking about Missouri. That's news to me.
Yeah, there's one in Springfield, Illinois now.
I'm sure they'll be
Oh,
in
wait,
St. Louis
I
with them
think-
next year too.
I think there's one in Springfield, Illinois.
I think you're right. They just
Yeah.
opened one in Dallas, north of Dallas too, so they'll be there eventually, dude.
Man. So they're in Dallas, but not fucking St. Louis.
Isn't that weird?
Damn it.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah, I'm refraining saying some of the tasting note or the nose notes right now, because the day I was at the farmers market where I met some of these guys at, there was a lot of talk there at the tent about some of the notes. So I can't help but be influenced by some of those because I started seeing those things. So I'm refraining from some of that, and I'll actually read some later because I think they actually are good notes that they have even listed on the bottle.
Yeah.
So it's not like some of the, sometimes you look at those notes and you're just like, I guess so, or something. I think these are pretty accurate to what I pick up as well. And it's stuff you guys are saying largely.
Yeah, great nose. It's almost like I get a little coconut almost, too. Anyway.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cheers.
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 Oh, she's strong. She feels 119.
But I think it goes away pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's like, woof, that's 119. But then
Oh, sorry.
no, go on.
On the finish, I do get absolute coconut. On the front center, like, okay, I swallowed it, it's gone. um like the finish is gone. But on my tongue, I'm definitely getting absolutely I'm getting coconut. And that is super unusual for I don't know that I've ever picked up coconut.
If you just take a little sip and you kind of go to like a smack when you first get it in your mouth, I pick up way different notes than I do later as well. Like giving it a little extra air. That first few seconds on your tongue, there's some pretty
Got to
crazy
it.
stuff that goes through quick. Yeah.
Very sweet. As soon as you put it, like, it's very balanced, I feel like. You know, I don't know if that's the stout cask that was in, but you get it. It was very sweet, but I get a little like graham cracker at the back end too.
Yeah, I can see that. I
yeah.
can see that.
And I say
I do. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, I say it goes away quick, but there is a good hug. It's not like it's completely without a backbone to it, but it just, it's almost like your palate is pretty cleansed fairly quick. The flavor itself doesn't have too long of an aftertaste, but you still feel, if you want a higher proof whiskey, you still feel like you have that. It just doesn't have that that lasting kind of Jaeger feel like we talked about before.
And you just hit on something that is exactly what I was going to say, is that I want to make sure that the listeners realize that when we're saying, oh, it's got this, you feel and taste every bit of 119, 120 proof, okay? If you are accustomed to 80 to 100 proof whiskeys, this is going to punch you in your face hard. It's not going to burn. It doesn't burn terribly, but you feel the 119, I think.
Yeah, I think
especially on my tongue. Not
Yeah.
so much on my throat, but very much so on my tongue.
Yeah, my tongue's pretty numb right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I feel like not all ranges of proof are created equal, and I feel like the 110 to 120 range has the greatest variance for the actual effect it'll have on you. You know, like if you look at something and you just see that it's 113, let's say, it's really hard to say without trying it exactly how you'll experience that. There's plenty of stuff at 113, feels like nothing. Then you'll have something at like 110, it'll scorch you. You know, it's crazy how I feel like in that range, I notice that being most prevalent is there's wild swings between the effects you'll feel. So even this at 119, and it sounds like maybe nothing, but I feel like if you told me this was 112, I would also believe you, because although it's warm and it has that nice long hug there, I feel like it's close enough where it's just not an unpleasant burn to me. I'd be like, yeah, I believe that.
Glad they proofed it up to 119. You know.
Callback. Callback from 60 episodes ago. Yeah, it's just a proofed up version.
I stand by what I said. It was good commentary. So here's you want me to tell you the tasting notes that they say, or should I wait a little bit
Yeah,
longer?
let's hear it.
So the tasting notes that they say is, and this top one for the nose is what everybody was talking about at the tent. So I didn't want to say it. But they say a sweet cherry cola nose, which I see 100%.
Yeah.
Not that there's not other stuff there, but that's primarily what I pick up. And then a full-bodied cinnamon spice palate and a creamy aromatic stout finish. So they don't go into like 100 little like granular things, but I think if you read that on the back, you know whether or not you're in, you know, for the experience. So
yeah, I agree. And I get some cinnamon on the palate. I get none on the nose, none on the finish, but I do get some on the palate personally.
Yeah, those are two different things. The nose was just the cherry cola.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
I'm shocked by how short the finish is. Like you get a nice hug, but like it is gone quick.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
like really, really, really fast gone finish. But anyway, just an observation.
And I don't know what causes that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
You think for 119 you'd feel it for a while, but you really don't.
I feel it on my tongue for a long time,
Yeah.
but not down my throat, not in my
Smell-
belly.
Smelling the glass like after you've had a few drinks too, you definitely get more of those cherry notes, 100%. At least for me, I don't just it's worked its way around the glass a little bit more. I definitely see. I don't know about cherry cola. Maybe if you're eating a chocolate cake with a cherry on top or a little cherry flavoring in the chocolate of the cake. I see a little bit more, but I
They
definitely
say
get the cherry.
cola. I remember that the talk of like at the 10 or whatever was Dr. Pepper specifically.
Hmm.
Um,
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the nose now, I get some stale cigar smoke notes
Oh yeah,
on the
see that.
nose.
you open a humidor a little bit. Get that
Well, I
whistle
mean
there.
more like secondhand
Smoke type.
stale smoke.
Stale.
Like the three of us are in a small to mid-sized. We're in Steven's office, and we all three smoke a cigar. And then we pass out because that's what we do. And the next morning we wake up and we walk back into that room. That stale, it's been smoked cigar smell is what I
Yeah.
get.
You know, a lot of times when we say that something has like a vanilla nose specifically, but even the palate sometimes, I feel like that's interchangeable to me a lot of times
I
with
do.
cigar smoke.
I agree. But for me, this is much more of an actual cigar. It is vanilla. Yeah, it's got some vanilla to it. But to me, it's just very reminiscent of a stale
It
cigar.
reminds me of walking in the Stanleys on Washington. Or is that what street is that over there? Is that Washington Avenue? Can't
I
remember.
don't fucking know the streets, man.
I don't know either. I know what you're talking about, but let me.
Just go to the Edward
I think it's
Jones
on a
Dome
cross
and look
street, isn't it?
around. That's
I
the
think it's a
directions.
cross street.
I think it's on the corner of a cross street. Wash Ave is where McGurk's was. Not McGurk's. The Dubliner, whatever it was called, where we'd
The
hang out.
Dubliner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is on Wash Ave.
Is it still open?
Stanley's probably is. Although
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
so. Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
Stanley's Cigar Lounge. Yeah. They're open.
God bless them. They need some better ventilation in there.
They have a nice humidor though.
It's funny. I was at a cigar lounge, like a legitimate cigar lounge, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, like
And you walk-
Stanley's. That's
you
a
walk- no,
legitimate. Like,
yeah.
fuck.
Right. No, this one, like it was, you need a membership. Like I was a guest, but a membership, like you have your own locker, like they sell a shitload of cigars in there in the basement. It's like kind of a social club atmosphere. And you go down there and you'd be like, man, someone smoked a cigar down here? I don't smell it at all. They just have a better ventilation system. So
Sure, yeah.
Stanley's, I love you, but it's nice leaving a cigar lounge not like drenched in cigar smoke. Like smelling like that the whole night is a commitment.
Yeah. Can we please talk about the fucking Cowboys game a little bit?
Oh my god. Oh fuck.
I just want to add one more thing before I open it up. I saw the number one comment on the Cowboys subreddit on like the post-game discussion thread. The number one comment was just somebody going like, why can't we lose like normal teams?
That fucking play. And they had a timeout to be like, all right, maybe we shouldn't do that. And they came back out in the same formation.
No, the Cowboys were out of timeouts by then.
No, San Fran called.
Oh,
San
yeah, because
Francisco-
San Francisco
they-
took the timeout.
Yeah,
They
they
were
somehow
trying to get
dumped
their
it.
personnel right for
Yeah.
what was about to happen. Little did they know it was a dump pass.
Oh man. And so I like as that play was happening, I was already laughing to Annie about the formation. And then watching the play, and watching the receiver just get he just gets bent in half.
How about Zeke snapping the ball and just
What was the
immediately
benefit of
getting rolled
having
over?
Zeke snap the ball?
I don't know.
Because if he was going to line up just because he was ineligible, so the only thing they were just going to lateral to him maybe anyway.
Yeah.
So why have him under center?
I don't know. Have him paired up it makes sense to me to have like a wide receiver and Tony Pollard, and then a different wide receiver paired up with Ezekiel Elliott. Throw to one of them, and then whoever catches the ball, you've got a running back right there to lateral to, and then anybody else that didn't catch it, now you're falling in behind. But it still doesn't make sense to have that stupid goddamn formation where it's just a center and a quarterback, and then
it's reminiscent of the Colts play with Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Like, you think this is going to go well?
Yeah.
I just felt like the number one thing that happened wrong in that play was Zeke lining up under center, because if he wasn't, because the most pressure, like the number one spot that the pressure is going to come from where the play could break down is the guy who's just going to run directly at Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So you have a blocker to block maybe one or two pass rushers as best they can. Zeke gave him basically no time, roughly as much time as I would have given him, and that is to say none at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he just goes through Zeke. And then Dak Prescott has to get rid of the ball. So they have this guy who's out there on basically like a hook, and then no blockers can get out there to help that guy.
None.
So there's less coverage there in the secondary now for that wide receiver than there is on an average play, because they're lining up. They're just going. It's like just straight out routes. So there's not even a fellow wide receiver to fucking pick up that guy.
And like I said, and then like what a perfect form tackle by the 49ers on that play. And like I said, just bends him in half. Just
retirement inducing.
Perfect form tackle. Didn't get injured. But like the first thing I don't know which Dallas Cowboys receiver caught the ball. I don't know which one he was. But the first part of his body that touched the ground was his shoulder blades from that perfect form tackle by the 49ers.
Yeah.
And
the second part of his body to touch the ground was his butthole, because it
Yeah,
went
seriously.
straight through his fucking body.
No, and another element is Tony Pollard breaks his leg earlier in the game, and then you decide to put Zeke at center, where a 300-pound just jacked lineman is going to run right. Like, what if he broke his leg on the play too?
He's a
I forgot
pending
Pollard broke his
UFA.
leg.
It doesn't fucking matter, Ryan.
Yeah.
Either you make they were going to run Zeke into the ground. They're like, either this guy fucking, maybe they were trying to see what they had in him if they wanted to put him on the line next year. I don't know. But either way, it didn't work out.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It was.
What about the play
boggles my
before
mind.
that? Just the laziness of the Cowboys receiver of
The tight end, right?
Oh,
yeah,
Schultz.
Schultz.
Yeah.
He had two bad plays in a row.
Yeah. Just utter laziness. That took 20 plus
Didn't drag
yards
his
away
foot
from
down.
their play.
Yeah, and then the game before, or the play before, he doesn't run out of bounds correctly. Which, by the way, the whole out of bounds thing in the NFL really pisses me off. If you run out of bounds, the clock stops. I know you want to get fucking the games faster.
They make
and
it
done
too
quicker.
technical.
But yeah, it's just, if you're out of bounds, you're out of bounds.
They changed that 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, and I
Is
hate
when
it.
I think it's super dumb.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, then add another minute to every quarter.
Yeah.
Because the amount of time that's just wasted.
Players need to be able to not think about it. Like I almost don't blame him for that. If I got fucking neutralized my forward momentum from a shoulder hit, and I'm just like, all right, I'll go out or whatever. I agree with you. I think that's should stop the clock. Why not?
I agree that it should stop the clock. However, it doesn't. And this dude's paid how many millions of dollars to play football? He should know that. He should know that. And
he's a good tight end
too. If he knows
it
and didn't achieve it, then that's on him. If he didn't know it, that's still on him. So this is one of those situations where I don't like the rule, but it is the rule. So it's on you, dude, and you fucked up.
And props to the
Or
49ers corner, I think it was, who
exactly.
immediately
Or the
called it out.
49ers player earned his paycheck by doing exactly what he's supposed to do.
And he
In
pointed
either
to the ref
case.
immediately. He was like, I stopped
Yep.
forward momentum. Yeah.
Yep. Well, hey, I have an idea.
No.
Let's rate this motherfucker.
Rate what, dude?
This conversation. What do you think of this conversation, gentlemen?
I thought we bet like 285 tonight. I thought it was not
285?
bad. Yeah. I think we had a very respectable, potentially even all-star, depending on what our other numbers look like. It could be an all-star year, you know?
Like, what's our OPS?
890. Pretty good.
Okay. That's
Pretty
fair.
good.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's just one grounder with eyes away from definitely being an all-star.
Yeah. I feel we had probably like 4 wins above replacement at the All-Star break, which is really good.
Yeah.
But I see us.
That's solid.
That is solid. But let me tell you, I think we're going to have a lot of regression of the mean in the second half of the year.
Now you're talking my language, though. All right, no, let's rate this son of a bitch. Let's rate some Switchgrass oat stout finished bourbon. Is that right?
They don't mention oat, but probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go 7-2. I think that I love the nose. I think the palate is solid. Finish is super lacking. Really, really, really lacking. But since I place palate above nose or finish, I'm not knocking it that much, right? But I do love the nose. But I think on the palate, it's got some. It's a really interesting pour. It's a really interesting drink that I enjoy drinking. I finished that glass and I've been drinking water, but that's because I want to make sure that I don't get totally shitty off of 119 proof whiskey that I really could. I could get drunk off of it really easily. I've got this much left. It's right there. And I would enjoy drinking that. I moved away from it just because I didn't want to get shitty drunk because it is 119 proof. So yeah, 7-2 based on a solid nose, solid palate, very weak finish. 7-2.
Yeah, I'll piggyback right off what you said, Dan. I'm gonna go a little higher though. I'm gonna go 7-6, just because of how good that nose was. Portillo's chocolate cake is gonna get you an over a 7.5 just based on the nose alone. The nose was great. What I think would make this whiskey great is you give this another, 2 to 6 years to age, right? 2 years. It's a young whiskey. You're not going to get the best finish in the world on it. So whatever they're doing now to make it, like, it's great for how young it is. You don't get a lot of 2-year-old whiskeys. I mean, the colors, obviously the stout barrel gives it that great color, but the decadent nose that we talked about is great. The finish was a little lacking, but when you put it in your mouth, I mean, that graham cracker caramel vanilla that you get, it is really good. It just can use some work when it comes to an aging perspective. So give this a few more years to age, and I think this could be a top tier whiskey, but I'm gonna go 7.6 for now.
Yeah, I'm not going to draw it out too long because I agree with a lot of what you both said, but in particular, Dan, a little bit more, I think, because I was going to go with the 7.2 as well. I intentionally looked up what I rated the last bottle, which was the rye, which I rated a 7.0. And at first, I thought I liked that one more, but as time has gone on and I've sipped a little more of each one, I've decided that I liked the Switchgrass bourbon finish in the stout barrel a little bit more. So I wanted to reflect that in my score. It's mainly a direct relation to that. So that's the biggest reason for it being a 7.2. But I think that it's very flavorful up front, I think. Like I said, if you do the like you add a little air to it, it produces a lot of unique qualities to it. There's a lot of unique notes you get on the nose and the palate that you don't get from every whiskey. The finish is a little bit lacking. I 100% agree, but there's still a hug there. It feels like it's a whiskey with backbone still. It's not going to get pushed into the eights or whatever, but I think for being again, putting it in perspective with like the last rye, if you're looking at a 2-year-old whiskey that's producing such unique notes and everything, I think, like we said about the rye, I think that there really is something there, and I'm excited to see what else they produce. And this is a damn good bottle as it is. So 7.2.
100%. And I got to try that stout from that brewery too, because
Yeah.
it's the time to drink them right now, cold weather. If the whiskey aging in that stout is, as good as this is, then I'm sure the beer is great too.
Yeah, I want to throw out there that like good on Switchgrass for trying something as creative as finishing a bourbon in an oat. I keep saying oat, a stout barrel. You see a lot of stouts aged in whiskey barrels. The fact that they decided to flip flop it, that's good on them, right? They're young. They can take some risks. Good for them.
And I will say the like whiskey with the Scotch background, I think tastes a lot better than beer that tastes like whiskey. I'm not a fan of bourbon aged stouts at all. I think it's gross. For as much as I like whiskey, it's just the texture of it makes me want to just drink whiskey. I think the reverse roll in this works a lot better than the beer does.
Another brother showing